Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Bad Luck Gamer, and today is not really going to be about this channel. Today, we're actually going to be diving in to what makes Pathfinder 2E special. And I mean, to be fair, right? Every community is like this. Our people are great. Look at all these great content creators. Look at all these great people on Twitter. And every community is like this. But as far as tabletop RPGs is concerned, there is no larger community that is so well put together, from the third party content creator to the company itself, as Pathfinder 2E's community. In fact, there's so many people who have absolutely loved the community since 2E came out that many people have even started much of their livelihood because of Pathfinder 2E. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the ones that I feel are some of the more influential, and some of the people that in my, year and a half journey going through Pathfinder 2E and being really involved in the space, who I found very inspiring and very influential in everything that's been going on. And we're going to actually be starting with the ones on Twitter, but I am leaving a section queue down in the description. So if there's a part of the community you want to jump to, feel free to go ahead. But I do feel like the Twitter community does need a good shout out, because these people have been working so hard this whole time and highly underappreciated by anyone outside the Twitter space. But in the Twitter space, some of these people really keep the community knit together, and it's just absolutely fantastic what you can find. And I will also say, before I get started, that this is not a complete comprehensive list. There's going to be a lot of content creators, community members out there that I'm not going to get to, and to make this video any reasonable length, I'm just going to be getting to the ones that have been at least the most influential for me, and I feel like would be very influential for all you, especially if you're getting into the community for the first time. But there are still plenty more out there, and go out into the community and feel free, because everyone here is real friendly and always eager to help. And you all may know already, but always eager to talk about Pathfinder 2E. But let's go ahead and get started. So right off the bat, I'm going to talk about one of the individuals that I find the most present in the Twitter space when it comes to Pathfinder 2E. I see his content everywhere, and he's also a really great guy who has been on this channel, and I've gotten to talk to him, and that's going to be Pete from, let's see, what is the @ I wrote these down because I would never remember what people's handles are. It's Pete at Rulelord 2E, also known as Rise of the Rulelords. Yes, the one and only. He is everywhere in the community. He is one of the top moderators, or one of the moderators, he wouldn't say top, but one of the moderators for the Pathfinder 2E subreddit, which is a massive subreddit that has recently gotten over 600 or 65,000 members, which is absolutely nuts. The subreddit is great, and I'm not a Redditor, so I don't know anyone in that space. I'm fortunate. I only know pretty much Twitter and YouTube. But in any regard, Pete is one of the ones that I would say is so present in the space and always has some fun, great things to say. I see his content all the time. I share it on occasion, and I gained to meet him in person. It was a very fun experience, and also getting to meet him or having him on the channel to talk as well. I would check out that table talk that we did with him. Some other things to mention as well. He also has his educational podcast, which you can find on most podcast sites, where he talks about educational stuff, getting into Pathfinder. This is very relevant this time. You can find it on most podcasting sites, and it's just Rise of the Rulelords. You can go to his Twitter, which I'm showing here on screen. I'll include a link to his Twitter down below, where you can go to the link for the podcast there. Just an absolutely wonderful person, always got a good sense of humor, and always very, very into the Pathfinder 2E space. And he's also one of the individuals out there who says that Pathfinder 2E is actually not his favorite game, which is so strange considering his presence in the space. But it's just one of those things that I absolutely love about him. Next up is Mark at Mark Seifter, and he is also someone I've met in person, gotten the pleasure to do so. If you don't know, and I don't know how you wouldn't, Mark is very influential when it comes to Pathfinder 2E, and he's one of the Battlezoo director of game design. Battlezoo is a big kind of like third-party content that was for Pathfinder and for D&D, and obviously they're also one of the people heading the initiative against WotC's OGL changes and all that kind of stuff. But beyond that, Mark was also one of the top game designers when it came to Pathfinder 2E, and for a good time was one of the design managers for Paizo, and worked a little bit on Pathfinder First Edition, was very influential and had a good hand in much of what came out in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Many of the classes that you may love or come to love in the system were designed by Mark himself. And he has also gotten to speak here on the channel as well, so I recommend checking out that Table Talk VOD as well. And it is just, he's such a great mind to pick when it comes to things like game design and Pathfinder in general. He and I spoke for like 3.5 hours just at PaizoCon one time, just geeking out about the system, and it was an absolute joy. I absolutely love Mark, and is another person you should look at when it comes to everything from the actual game design, Pathfinder 2E, and being a contract designer in general, because he has a lot of experience in that space, and is one of the very well-connected individuals, and one of the few who got some of the leaked information earlier than most. So definitely someone I would keep an eye on anyway. Aaron at Aaron Shanks or Aaron W. Shanks, my apologies, is the director of marketing for Paizo, and is also one of the leads for the Discord server, the Paizo Partners Discord server, where a lot of the content creators for Paizo kind of go through him to get some information early, PDFs early, whatever, so that we can bring the content to you guys. And he's an absolutely wonderful individual, really loves the space, really loves Pathfinder 2E. I absolutely love his Twitter, and is another individual to keep a lookout, because he is very much in tune with the community and is constantly doing his best to make sure that, Paizo and the community work really well together. And I think he does a fabulous job at it. And we can't go anywhere without mentioning Jason at Jason Bulmahn, yes, the Jason Bulmahn, who is one of the founders of Pathfinder, the tabletop RPG in general, one of the co-creators of the original first edition, and is the current director of game design at Paizo. And he also has a lot of information. I haven't met him in person. I haven't really gotten to speak with him, unlike most of the other people here on this list. But that doesn't mean that I don't think his content is really good. He has a lot that goes into like the design, and he's also a huge advocate for third-party and indie developers in the space. So he's someone who's very, very much interested in keeping, the TTRPG space open and away from, monopolies and the such of the bigger content creators, I guess, technically, like, big corporations and such. Let's not even give them the time of day here in this video. We're talking about the Pathfinder 2E community, and Jason Bulmahn is a fascinating individual, because he's been there pretty much from the get-go for Pathfinder, so you might as well start at the root, right? And I do recommend checking out his Twitter. Now, there are plenty more developers and people who work for Paizo that you can find on Twitter, but if I was to go into all of them, this video would take forever. So I definitely recommend going around checking them out. Most of them do have the Paizo Union border around their photo, so you can, or around their icon, so you can easily identify them, though, you might have to look for some of the other ones, but a lot of them have a lot of good information, and every one of them absolutely love Paizo and the community, and are very, very proud of their work, and I've gotten to speak with many of them, and I do know that for a fact they do love the community and the game space in general, so it's absolutely wonderful. Next up, we're going to be talking about Gloria at G Brainer, and I'm gonna mention this YouTube channel a lot. Deadly D8, a great, wonderful Pathfinder channel on YouTube. Gloria has a section called Gloria of Thassilon. She's a big lore buff and a very big world buff, as well as she has a very intricate knowledge of the various deities in the setting. So if you're interested in the actual setting that Pathfinder is put into, its deities, and the wonderful world that was created for Pathfinder first and second edition, a world that I might add has spawned very good video games and overall really good modules as well, some of which you may have even played before without realizing, as Paizo as well has developed content for things like D&D 5e that you can play in that system while still participating in the setting, which I think is very great, very interesting. And Gloria is a very key member when it comes to getting in on that information, so you can go check her content out at Deadly D8, which we'll talk about that channel here in the YouTube section of the video. But I do want to point out her Twitter because she always has really interesting things to say about the setting. And the last for the Twitter section, though, I do want to state that there is still plenty more out there. And if I didn't mention any of your favorite, community members in this space, that I just can't do it. And these are just some of the ones that really stuck out to me personally in my journey through Pathfinder 2e these last couple years. So, this is something that I would say I'm not ignoring anyone intentionally. I'm just trying to keep this as concise as possible. But anyway, last but not least here for the Twitter section, we have James at GeekJames513. Also works on Deadly D8 actually, and is the co-owner of Eldritch Osiris Games. And Eldritch Osiris Games is a great space where they get content creators who are authors for like Adventure Pass and everything of all varieties and types to publish through them with them. You can buy them on their site. I'll leave a link to their website down below in the description. And they also made a very good and a very fun comic series called, simply PF2E. It's a little comic book series that really helps you learn, especially if you have something like ADHD or dyslexia or anything else that makes it more difficult to learn in more standard, traditional methods. This is a really good comic series that can really help you understand the rules and very simple and easy to look little comics here. So I absolutely love what they're doing over there, and James even hopped on to a tweet I made about this video and mentioned everything that I've mentioned here, and I felt this was very important for the community to mention in, because we do have a very, very inclusive community in the Pathfinder 2e space. We're moving on to the YouTubers, because I'm sure many of you who are watching this are on YouTube, and I know a lot of you don't do anything on Twitter, so this might be more relevant to a good majority of the audience. I am putting in the second half just because I want to make sure that, those who are in less visual or less viewed spaces at least get their space a little bit up front. But enough of that. Anyway, so we can't talk about the YouTube of Pathfinder 2e without mentioning Brogan from No Nat Ones. Another individual I have gotten to meet personally, another lovely individual, very kind-hearted, very fun-loving individual, very fun guy. I could go on and on and on, obviously. He's been very big in the space. He's had a lot of videos. He's brought a lot of passion and flair, and a lot of something you don't see in the TTRPG space in general. A lot of strong personality and a good amount of charisma. An absolutely wonderful guy. He loves interacting with his community, and he's been doing really well with a lot of his videos, and it's just another individual that I highly recommend you go check out his content and see everything he's gone to do. You can't miss him. Honestly, I see him everywhere, so I'm sure you've already heard of him, and I'm sure this needs to go there. This doesn't have to be said, but he's definitely a channel you don't want to miss out on. Next up is Ronald from the Rules Lawyer, and Ronald is an individual that I've gotten to speak with here at our channel during one of our table talks. You can go check it out. He couldn't be there for the whole time, very busy guy, but he is a very fun-loving individual, a very forthright and very passionate individual, especially when it comes to TTRPGs, does a lot of good educational content, does a lot of good community outreach, and is probably one of the Pathfinder 2e channels that has done the most collaborative work with a lot of people in the D&D space, and is a good bridge between the two spaces. I absolutely love him. He's got a lot of good ideas and a lot of good thoughts when it comes to tabletop, and there's not a more stalwart defender of the community player base and of the general rights of players as people than Ronald. So I would go check out the Rules Layer. Absolutely love his videos, and especially a lot of his videos where he brings people in from D&D, because it's always fun to see that kind of first impression, and especially from a more experienced standpoint. Now I'm going to talk about one of the channels that was very influential for me when I first started getting into Pathfinder 2e in general, and that's How It's Played. Now, I don't know, and for some of these I don't know the names of the individuals who run them. I could probably do some research, but I don't think it's super relevant, and I'm not very personal with a lot of these people, so, using their name is not necessarily something that I'm great with. But anyway, How It's Played was very influential for me when I first got started in the Pathfinder 2e game in general, because he does a lot of good videos when it comes to teaching the rules, especially when some of the rules are a little bit more vague or nuanced or something that you don't understand. There are many times I went and looked at his channel when I had a question about a rule, and I got a much more informed position, and is someone I would definitely go to if you have any questions about the mechanics and rules of Pathfinder 2e, as he's a great individual that is very informative, and his videos are very easy to listen to. It's very concise and very direct, and very much gets to the heart of any question that you might have. So definitely How It's Played is a channel I would highly recommend, probably more than any, just because it helps you with the game itself. Roll for Combat is one I mentioned a little bit earlier here. It's where we have Stephen Gleicher, who is the founder of and the predominantly creator of Battle Zoo, and Mark Seifter. It's a great channel, and they've been smashing it with all the LGL content recently. There's not a channel that I feel like did better reporting on the OGL and came with such an informed decision, even bringing on lawyers and other community members, and even I do believe they did even speak with Ryan Dancy, who is the original creator of the 2000 OGL, and they're really well connected. I'm stumbling over myself just because there's so much that comes to Roll for Combat, as they also have various live plays. They also show off their amazing third-party content that they make for tabletops in general. They're also one of the supporters of the new Open RPG, or the Orc license, that's going to be coming out here soon, and it's really great. They even talked with Eric Mona from Paizo about their ideas for the Orc as well. So it's a very well-informed channel, a very well-informed group, and real well-connected group in general. So if you really want like someone who has a thumb to the pulse of Pathfinder and the TTRPG community in general, there's not a better place in the Pathfinder 2e space than Roll for Combat. And next up, probably one of the YouTube channels that got mentioned the most in this video is Deadly D8, made by MacArthur, and they do a lot of animated stuff for Pathfinder 2e, a lot of really great fun videos, very easy to watch, very entertaining to watch. They also do a variety of content, talking to various people in the content creation field, in the actual like game field, like with Paizo members, all kinds of stuff. They're one that's just very hard to ignore when it comes to talking about Pathfinder 2e, and I don't know why you would. They're all very lovely individuals, and again, this is where you can find Gloria's content for Gloria of Thassilon, where you can learn, or New Thassilon, where you can learn all kinds of great stuff about the setting and various rules, monsters, everything. It's a really great channel for just finding all kinds of different content. I do highly recommend checking out Deadly D8. And in this video, I did want to give a shout out to one of the smaller creators in the field, but someone I feel deserves a lot more interest than he gets. That's going to be Frizz, and Frizz's channel is absolutely great. All kinds of great, pretty, like short 10-minute videos on all kinds of stuff from Pathfinder 2e. He's got this really fun like doodle avatar kind of deal. It's very entertaining to watch. I've actually been watching a lot of his growth since he started, and it's been very fun to watch him kind of get more and more interest in the community as well. I absolutely love his videos, and this is just kind of like a personal pick for me. That was very, fun to watch from my perspective. So, I just kind of wanted to do a little call out. I just wanted to kind of add Frizz on, because I feel like he deserves so much more than what he's gotten so far. Not that he's been struggling too much, but I do love Frizz's content, and I wanted to share that with all of you at least. And obviously, there are a lot more in the YouTube space, And without making this video way, way, way longer than it needed to be, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here. There's so many great content creators, people in the community, you know, obviously like Paizo mods, and I also want to mention as well, if you're getting started in Pathfinder 2e, I do recommend checking out Archive of Nethys, which is a great site that has all the rules and is officially licensed by Paizo to give all kinds of stuff that you can't find anywhere else. Yes, Paizo does release all their rules for free, and you can get it through Archive of Nethys. It's a really, really great site, one I use all the time, like multiple times every day. It's a really, really good site. And I also want to mention Path Builder, an absolutely amazing character creating app that you can get on your phone. Makes making a new character really, really easy, as it kind of helps you through the process, tells you what you can and can't get. And I've heard a lot of good things from people who absolutely love Path Builder, so it's something I'd recommend you check out if you're getting into the game yourself. And at the end of all of it, there's me here at Bad Luck Gamer. I make all kinds of tabletop content, but I do have a special place in my heart for Pathfinder 2e, and I do have a lot of content. Plus, this is the channel where you can find any of the archetypes, as we've done more archetypes than any other channel on YouTube, and that's a verifiable fact. I've done a lot, and I don't plan on stopping until I do all of them, which there's a lot. So if you want anything on the classes or the archetypes, I'm your guy. I'm also doing some stuff on the Treasure Vault when that comes out next month, because I know the community is hungry for more item-related videos, and I plan on providing that for you all. But I also do other games, and I'm really looking into Lancer RPG right now, so if you're looking for something outside of, you know, the Pathfinder D&D space, this is the channel I hope that you come to, because we've done all kinds of games, and I plan on doing so much more. And I'm just the guy who made this video. I'm just someone who wanted to make this video to show off how many great people we have in the space, and to give you all a hopefully quick and easy guide so that you can get started and meet some wonderful people that I've gotten to meet most of myself, and I know many of them are very wonderful people. But that's gonna be it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Good luck with your games, especially if you're new to Pathfinder 2e, and leave the bad luck to me. And see y'all next time.